On behalf of Dunwoody College of Technology, I'd like to welcome everybody to our Jackson Leadership Lecture Series. These are really, really great events. We always have great speakers, and it's great to see a full crowd here, so thank you very much. My name is Steve Stone. I'm a 1977 graduate from here in the Electrical Construction and Maintenance program, so I know the process here very, very well. I'm also a current member of the Board of Managers, so again, thank you on behalf of everybody for showing up. It's my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Mike Sill, standing over here on my left. Mike got his undergraduate degree in economics from Dartmouth College and his MBA from Northwestern University. He started his career as a financial analyst in a commercial lending office before joining Road Machinery and Supply Company, where he is currently the CEO. Road Machinery and Supply Company, commonly known as RMS, and for those of you in the electrical industry, that means root means squared. I still remember that. That is a construction, mining, and forestry equipment distributor with 10 offices in Minnesota and Iowa, so very well distributed. They represent Komatsu and other leading construction equipment brands and provides contractor services via more than 100 heavy and light duty technicians. Mike is currently a member of Dunwoody's Board of Trustees. So without further ado, let's welcome Mike Sill.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I've been on the board now for about 3 years, and it has been a great experience. I've been very impressed with how well led Dunwoody College is, so you were all in a good place. And thanks for coming out today. These series are great, and I've actually had the opportunity to watch a few of them online. They're taped, and they are online, and you can kind of get a bit of a different angle from every presenter. I thought today I'd talk about what you can do as an inspiring leader in your career. And before I get into that, I'll just talk a little bit about my work experience with Road Machinery here, what we do. So RMS is the distributor for a number of brands of construction equipment, primarily serving the construction, forestry, mining markets. But we touch a lot of different aspects of Minnesota and Iowa industry. Branches throughout Minnesota, the UP and Michigan. Komatsu is our primary supplier, selling loaders, dozers, and excavators, and many other products. We'll take a look at some of the bigger products as well. We are very active in the mines in northern Minnesota and in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, selling mining trucks and shovels and drills. We sell quite a bit to the timber harvesters, Minnesota primarily, just because of the way that our product lines work with our geography to be covered. And our second largest category of equipment after Komatsu is aggregate and aggregate processing equipment. The largest category of employees are technicians. So many folks look at Road Machinery as a sales company because we sell these things, we rent them. The reality is that we take care of them, and that's why people do business. We're going to talk a little bit about the importance of establishing a good reputation in whatever you do. And we get into some very complicated repairs, like this circle bearing job up in the Iron Range with a very large mining shovel. Okay, so I'm going to direct my comments today primarily to the students, and hopefully the rest of you can capture some value from that as well. But I wanted to talk about what you can do very early in your career, right upon graduation, to be noticed as a leader. And I'm going to get really specific, and you're going to have to, I've often thought about these speeches that if you can come home with one concept that will be of value to you, you may not relate to anything, these are just my views. I'm also going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, because the more I have become engaged with Dunwoody, the more I realize how many entrepreneurs have been spawned by the Dunwoody graduates. And I'm a little bit of a hybrid. I am a third-generation family in the business, so I had a head start when I got into my career Road Machinery. But I think you'll see that no matter whether or not you come into a family business, whether you are a professional manager or whether you start your own business, there's a lot of things that you can do from an entrepreneurial standpoint to help grow that business. 3 key elements of leadership. It's the work culture that you help establish, the role that you choose to play at your company, and the relationships that you foster along the way. And I'd like to talk a little bit more in depth on these 3 topics. Okay, surprisingly, there's a lot of things that we should not have to teach, but we do. Show up on time. A lot of people don't really know what work culture is, but one definition of work culture is, do you look forward to going to work every day? And it's important as a business leader that all your employees really look forward to coming to work. It is very divisive to have folks worried about, who's a half hour late, who's 40 minutes late, who was maybe out too late last night and didn't show up early. You shouldn't have to teach showing up on time, critically important to culture. Don't get involved in the office gossip. It's toxic for a company. Just stay out of it. And stay off your cell phone. Really important for young people. You would not believe the amount of griping that we get within our own office about people who are checking their Instagram feed or their Snapchat accounts. Turn off your phone, your private phone, use them on your breaks, use them at lunch in a different area than your workspace. We had a problem here recently where one of our employees was taking really long bathroom breaks, and as she was liking people's Facebook pages and commenting on their Facebook pages for 20, 25 minutes, and her coworkers are getting that feed. So we know she's in there, right? Toxic for a culture. So turn off your phone. Okay. When I was young and mowing the grass at Road Machinery, my grandfather used to take me out to lunch. The old timers in the crowd, there was a Bridgman's on 494 and Highway 100. So I'd work in the morning and I'd go get a hamburger and a malt with my grandfather. And every lunch had a purpose. And I remember some of those stories that he told. And one topic he would say is, you know what the difference is between a job and a job well done? I said, what's that? He said, it's about 15 minutes. And there's a lot of truth to that. Do not run out of the office just because it's quitting time. Finish completely what it is that you have to do. Be thorough, whether it's to sweep up your workspace, whether it's to communicate with your customer who may be waiting for your call, whether it's to take care of your paperwork. It's really important that you're thorough and that you're committed to your job, which means you're taking care of your customers or your suppliers. So anyhow, I thought that was one life lesson that I learned early on that is very relevant. Leaders are decisive, and I'd like to talk a little bit about how to make good decisions. There are times when you will know exactly what to do. There are some decisions that are in fact black or white, and you should be making those decisions on your own and moving on. In business, there's a lot of gray area, right? If you take a look at your issues that you will face that are black and white, those may be like in a bell curve on the edges. There's an enormous area in the middle that are gray areas, and that you will have to make decisions with limited amount of information and live with that decision. That's really where the money is made in the company, right? If everything were black and white and everybody understood exactly how to conduct business, it would be easy, but it's not. And so leaders are willing to take risks and to make decisions. So if you know what you're doing, make the decision. If you don't know what you're doing, don't guess. Consult with somebody else. Obviously, 2 minds are better than one. But there's another element that you're doing, or 3 minds are better than one. Another element of what you're doing is that you are sharing in that decision. Now, the leader will own that decision. But obviously, you have bright minds around you that you can leverage to make a better decision. And you haven't just gone forth without doing your homework to make a decision. So be decisive and form a consensus management style. Right? Don't work in a vacuum. And most importantly, whether your decision is right or wrong, you still own that decision, and you got to fix it. So don't pass the buck, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. A healthy work culture is a culture that tolerates mistakes. Right? And there are a lot of people that are so fearful of making a mistake, but frankly, if you believe in the philosophy that most business decisions or many business decisions are made in this gray area, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And it's important that as you work with people, that you don't kick a guy because he's making a mistake, giving limited information, using his best judgment, hopefully consulting with others to help make a good decision. Right? You want to encourage people to take risks. Right? And if you're going to beat them up every time they make a decision, they're not going to take those risks. And next time they'll be really cautious, and maybe they won't make that decision because then they get fearful for their job. And we are all accountable. So if we make a lot of poor decisions in our life, ultimately that may come back on us in a negative way. But the reality is, good people typically do the right thing and will make good decisions. So it's important that we support them in how they take those risks in the best interest of the company. Okay, so now you've made a mistake. You can say, gosh, well, I talked to so-and-so and they said I should do this, and so, there's really kind of their call. Again, you're going to own the decision, or you may have a problem that is caused by something beyond your control. A shipper, got stuck in traffic or whatever. To your customer, it really doesn't matter. They've hired you and your company to do a certain job. Just fix the problem. That's really all they care about. Is now they got a problem. There is a timeline change for them. Just go fix the problem. Don't dwell on who was wrong. The leader will take responsibility for the problems that they've generated. Okay. If you've worked with a team and you have made a problem, it's really important that those who have generated the problem are aware of it. So maybe now you're a manager, there's a problem that you've been aware of. To find a problem at the time that you're implementing a job is less costly than one where you've actually completed the job and you're going to travel all the way up to Dunwoody to fix the problem that you created, and now you've got a really expensive fix. Right? So if a mistake has been made, it's important that you go back to the source and let them know that the job didn't go well, and part of it was because of a decision that they may have made. People get really uncomfortable when faced with their own mistakes, and so I'm just going to tell you how I like to address people who have made a mistake, especially ones that are using their good judgment. You can start off with a compliment and say, look, I don't want you to lose any sleep over this, right? Because usually you make really good decisions and you're good at what you do. But when we went in here, we made this decision, this was the result, and obviously it blew up and it cost us a few $1,000s. And if we'd only done it this way, we would have had a different result and a happier customer. But you're disarming your coworker by telling them, look, I don't want you to, this isn't a career decision, right? This isn't something that's going to cost you your job. You're good at what you do, but we all need to know so that we don't repeat these kinds of things in the past. So that's just my way of addressing mistakes, because I think they have to be trailed back to the source so that people learn and don't repeat the same mistake. It's important that you know that people will judge you by how you behave over a long period of time. One mistake, one failure, 2 mistakes, it's not a big thing. These aren't every decision that you make aren't career decisions. And you go back to doing your work, your good work every day, and people will recognize that. And this is whether it's a work issue or a personal issue, family issue. People will judge you by how you behave over a long period of time. So you've got an opportunity to continue to demonstrate that you can do good work, that you can be a good spouse, be a good kid, or whatever. And it's also really important that you realize there are very few truly big problems in life. Don't make little problems into big problems. And there's no reason to ever lose your cool when you're at work or school or wherever. You may get upset, but choke it down, and don't make little problems into big problems. It will only impact negatively on the culture of your company, on your own ability to progress. Okay, so moving on to the second thing, and as you can tell, I'm getting down to some kind of really nitty-gritty details here, but the role that you choose to play at your company to elevate yourself as a leader within your own company, these are a couple of things that I'd like to just emphasize. I am surprised so often with the number of people who do not maintain their eye contact when they are interacting with somebody. They're looking down, they're looking at their phone, or if you're in a seminar, they're really not paying attention. One way to signal that you are interested in your coworkers or in your manager is just to maintain eye contact. Speak up. A lot of people think that the management understands the problems of their company, and the reality is that we don't. My father was a manager by walking around. That's how he found out what was going on. Is he'd go around and schmooze a little bit over here and a little bit over here and a little bit over here, and before he knew all the problems that were going on. Maybe in that generation, not so strategic. Today, business is a little bit more complicated. That is not a traditional management style, but it is a very effective management style. But as you interact with your managers, and when you have a frustration or you see a problem that is facing you and other people, and I will say not necessarily just your own personal circumstances, but problems that face the business, speak up, make them known, and you will get noticed as well. In sessions like this, ask good questions. I recently took a trip and visited a number of our branches through Iowa with I hired a new president and a new CFO. And we talked a little bit about what was going on at the company, why we made the changes that we did, and then we opened it up for questions. Every branch, you get that really pregnant pause, and for 5 or 6 seconds, you realize someone's got to come up with that first question. And then it's like getting the genie out of the bottle, and the questions all come and everybody comes out. But we were talking afterwards as we made our trip back. In every branch case, the guy that asked the first question was the leader of the branch. Whether he had the title or not, recognized by his peers as a leader of the branch. So if you know that you have something that is on the minds of your coworkers, be confident and ask it. Step up and ask questions. In terms of how you ask the questions, do not assume that you know the answer. Right? And one of the most frustrating questions are ones where people ask a question that's designed to show the presenter how much they really know. Right? Stay away from those questions. Ask questions that you believe are important to you and your peers. Right? So those are genuine questions to be asked. So step up. Fix frustrations. There have been a lot of businesses that have been started by people who are simply willing to, they're frustrated by something, and they find a solution to it, and they go out and start their own business. Or even within your own business, if there is something that bothers you about the way your business is run, and you ask and they say, well, that's just because that's the way we've always done it. Find a solution for it. Fix those problems, and you will get noticed as somebody who is willing to step up, to be a leader, and to resolve things. There are a lot of people that may not be comfortable speaking up or asking questions. There's a lot of different kinds of leaders. And when you go and get your very first job, you can be designated or identified as a leader from day one. Right? And everyday leader is just somebody who's really good at what they do. They are genuinely interested in moving forward the company. They are not selfish. They are collaborating with their coworkers. I've got people from yard guys to individual mechanics to warranty administrators to parts people, many of whom are very quiet and stay to themselves. They're damn good at what they do. They're the best in the business, and everybody respects them. So you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be the person that is raising their hands. If you're truly not comfortable doing that, in order to be recognized by your peers as a leader. So be an everyday leader as well. My next concept is it's really easy to say no to concepts, things that you may not have time to do, that don't make sense to you. You say, no, we can't do that. It's more important that you find ways to say yes. And you'll find this especially as if you get into bidding work, complicated work, it may be easy just to say, I just don't even want that job. But there are circumstances under which you would take that job or that piece of business. You got to find the way that it would be acceptable for you to do that. And if you as an individual are always finding ways to say yes, you don't have to say yes to the specific request, but there will be a way in which you can say yes, you'll be a good leader. So find ways to say yes. Another tip as you work with your kids or your families or your spouses or girlfriends, find ways to say yes. Okay, the third component of strong leadership that I have found in my career is fostering relationships. The reality is that people do business with those that they trust. And when you do business, with them once, it's really significant to that relationship because now you have an opportunity to be available to them when there's a problem, right? How you resolve problems is how you will win their business next time. And every business has challenges. So, again, things that don't need to be said but are critical to a relationship, answer your phone. You know, I got a contractor at home who's done some remodel work with me, and every time I call, the guy answers my phone. Next time I have work, he's going to get my business, right? Just by the simple act of answering the phone. There are a lot of people that do not do that or won't do that. Another one of my pet peeves is, especially if you are in a service business like we are, let people know of your availability. I'm frustrated oftentimes when, and I'm a guy that functions with a high sense of urgency, but you know, I call for somebody and I get their voicemail and it says, you know, hi, this is Matt, not here, leave a message. Right? Okay, well, are you coming back? Are you going to be in today? And my preference is that everybody in our company leave a message more like this. Hi, this is Matt. It's Thursday, February 2nd. I'm out of the office until 10 o'clock, and I'll be back to answer your call at that time. Right? So take your phone calls. A lot of people don't do that. They don't make themselves available, and oftentimes they won't get the next piece of business. Solve problems to a view to your customer's reality. I'm going to give you a little bit of an example. You get a customer that calls up and says, you know, I got an asphalt paver that's down, and you know, I need a mechanic pretty quick. Now, if you're on the phone at Road Machinery, you might think, well, gosh, you know, I got 10 mechanics and 8 of them are gone, and the 2 guys that I got available really aren't the asphalt guys, and so, you know, let me get back to you. On the other hand, if you put yourself in the customer's reality, right, he's got 3 guys on the paver, he's got 2 rollers, each with an operator, he's got 8 trucks coming back and forth between the asphalt plant and the job site, and if that asphalt cools, it's going to settle into the trucks and be a huge problem. Right? He's got the DOT that's going to shut down the job at 4 o'clock because you know, the road can't have construction during rush hour, and if he's late, there's penalties to the job. So I would encourage you, as you're faced with an interaction with your customer, especially if there's a problem, put yourself in their shoes and try to see things not from your world, but from their world. And then you're going to say, okay, can I get you another paver here? I'll switch a guy out. I'll get the asphalt guy out there as quickly as possible. What else can I do to be helpful to you? And in what time frame, really importantly, what time frame do I absolutely have to be there to take care of you? Communicate with a sense of urgency. I'm a real believer that you need to tell people exactly when you're going to do things, when you'll complete a project, when you will call them back. And again, you're letting them know how they should plan their life based on their need to get information from you. Participate in industry associations. This one's a little bit of an odd one, I think, for young people to understand, but you know, life is long and your career will be long also. And so the more time that you invest in these industry associations, the more friends that you will make. And you'll be surprised at the way that those people that you meet you know, at the bar at 10 o'clock at night at an industry association will come back into your life. Whether they work alongside you, whether you do work together through different companies, whether they come to work for you, you'll make good friends. And the other thing that you will do is you will develop your reputation, which is central to everything that you'll do. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. I'm going to talk about how I grew my business, and this is just my story. There's plenty of other stories that are out there. Recognizing that I did get a head start. So when I came into Road Machinery and took over in 1994, we were a company. We had businesses across the state of Minnesota and the UP. Graduated from college in 1984, and the economy was not real good. And by the time I took over in 94, we came off a little bit of a trickle of a recession just prior to that. So you know, we had a business that was you know, supporting a lot of families, not generating a ton of income, but it was a solid business to build off of. Your reputation is everything, right? And it's going to start with how you treat your own people, how you treat your customers, and how you treat your suppliers. The way I treat my people, and of course I am a family, I run my business like a family business, but it comes out of respect for them and that their first priority is going to be their own family, right? Their second priority is going to be the work. Now, they may spend more hours of the day at work than they do with their family, but there are a few times when they will need to be there for their family, and I always honor that. Again, I work hard on the company culture. There have been past Jackson leadership speakers who address culture. Culture is really critical. But you want your people to be happy, right? And most importantly, you got to support them. In our case, we got a job with every one of our suppliers to be on the deals that go down, to deliver market share for them, to support their product really well in the field. And then as it relates to customers, they got to trust that you're going to take care of them and that you're going to treat them fairly. Always be fair. There's going to be times when you can take advantage of a customer because maybe you're already doing a piece of work for them and there's an extra, but that extra has to be priced at a fair price, right? If your customer believes that you're taking advantage of them over a small piece, they won't come back. And the reality is we don't have any customers. You cannot afford to lose a customer. So always be fair. Be fair with your employees, be fair with your suppliers, and be really fair with your customers, and they will keep coming back. So I'm going to talk a bit about how we grew the business. And it started with a healthy core of the business. Took over 94, 95, acquired a small manufacturer, a small dealer of crushing products on the left side. And we had not been engaged in the aggregate business before. When we took that on, we were surprised how many people wanted to do business with us. So we took one small product and then we built it into, more suppliers came. Today, the aggregate processing equipment is the second largest category of equipment after Komatsu for road machinery. Only because, and the guy that we bought was a guy that we knew through an industry association. He was getting into his 60s. Time was right for him to start, exiting the business. And because of that industry association, we made a phone call. That was 95. Also bought in 95 mining products out of a company up in the Iron Range. Bucyrus shovels and drills, and DMEG shovels, rope shovels, or hydraulic shovels. Brought those businesses into road machinery. DMEG ended up getting bought by Komatsu. Bucyrus ended up being bought by Caterpillar. And I've always wanted to have both Komatsu and Caterpillar for a very short while. That's that cat drill on the left side that we're delivering. When Caterpillar bought Bucyrus, they took it away from road machinery because they weren't going to have the Caterpillar or the Komatsu guys handling the cat line. But then we had some other drilling products that came our way too, and that has worked out well. 96, I had a manager who, frankly, was getting burned out in service leadership. His customers loved him and kept calling him directly. Oftentimes, we get customers that will get sticker shock on the parts counter. They got an older machine that they can't afford to put a new engine into, and they go somewhere else for a used component. And so we started Polar Parts, which is the business on the right here, to tear down and dismantle. That was led by a leader. He was a leader when he was a field mechanic. He came into service leadership, and then he took this division and ran it for his last 15 years. We also started a new rental division. The Caterpillar dealer had the low forklift account, and when Cat started making its own forklifts, because of our industry reputation, the Lowell brand came through Road Machinery, and we became the largest Lowell dealer in the country, and maintained that for a lot of years. We had an opportunity to acquire a couple of truck dealers, one up in the Upper Peninsula and one in northern Minnesota. Timing was right because we approached somebody who was at the time to exit the business. And also we had customers that were saying that when that product comes available, we want Road Machinery to handle it. Our reputation was strong with our customers. Manufacturers said, obviously these are a $5 million truck right here. This thing is like walking into the second story of your house and driving it down the road. It's enormous. Critical piece of business for us, driven by our customers saying we want Road Machinery because they take good care of us. The scrap yards is an area where Road Machinery has always been strong. There came a time that because of pollution concerns that the scrap guys had to put asphalt or concrete in their yards. That made cranes like this from tracks to rubbers. They could move around. The European brands came in, and because of our reputation with that customer base, they heard that Road Machinery is the place they should park their business, and we continue to be the dominant player in the scrap industry. When Caterpillar bought Bucyrus, Atlas Copco, another manufacturer, knew that we had sold the vast majority of the drills on the Iron Range with the Bucyrus line. And so we worked out a circumstance. We took on their drill from the Iron Range all the way down to Iowa, and we have dominated with the Atlas Copco drill since. Nice piece of business that came from our reputation. And then there's a couple things that we will do just because we don't want our customers to leave us. So we had customers who were coming to us for their hydraulic needs. They'd go somewhere else because we didn't do that, so we started a hydraulic shop. For undercarriage needs, they'd go somewhere else. And so we want to keep that customer coming to us for as many of their needs. Call us every time they can. So we started a few smaller aspects of our business too. Conclusions. Leadership development starts early, and I'm pleased to see so many young guys that are in the room, but and many of you already do have jobs, but the day you start is the day you start to be a leader. And don't confuse the fact that some people have manager on their title with the things that you can do to be a leader, because they are very different. You'll want to contribute to a positive work culture. Do your part. I interview almost everybody that comes to work for Road Machinery. It isn't that I'm trying to determine whether they can do the job. They've already been, somebody else at our company has already determined that. I'm really looking for that person that's going to be a good cultural fit, because it's really important that people continue to want to come to work every day. Show people that you care. That would include, and it has to be genuine. And make industry friends and build your network. Those are my comments. Thank you for coming out today. Really appreciate it. It's nice to see a full room.